Welcome back, and we're going to open up this conversation to the audience shortly. But before that, I must say that we were expecting the negotiator on behalf of the federal government to be with us today. He was to be represented by a former vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan, Professor Olufemi Bamiro. Unfortunately, he could not be here. But before we went to break, I think Dr. Fabian was making a point, and that is basic education as against tertiary education.
Yes.
Where should the greater part of the investment go? And if we do, then it means that we have an opportunity cost. How do we manage that?
Well, if you ask me, I will prefer putting more money in the basic education. Because if you invest heavily in basic education, it's just as putting your foundation on the right path. And by the time these children get to the university, they would have been fully grounded. Today, we have a challenge in education. Well, it is global. The quality of education is falling global. But Nigeria has a very peculiar challenge. And I want to believe it's as a result of this emphasis on tertiary education vis-a-vis the other tiers of education. We must concentrate, put our energy on the foundation. Let us.
And you feel that is the way to go. That is the way we can move forward. Okay, well, let's move on to our studio audience. And I will begin with the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, who is to the right here. Let's get responses. Okay, he's over at the back. Let's get a response from that. How is this strike affecting NANS?
All right, thank you very much. My name is Comrade Kadiri Aruna, the president of National Association of Nigerian Students. First and foremost, it is unfortunate. It's unfortunate to the extent that we have seen it largely from the insincerity from the part of the government. Because no matter how much ASU is looking at, if it is agreed between ASU and federal government, then federal government should be sincere enough to meet their part of the bargain. If they are not...
And what if the federal government can't afford to meet that? Because let's face it, we are in a recession. Federal government has a lot of challenges. There are lots of opportunity costs.
That's where the problem lies. Federal government should not agree to what they cannot meet. Government is a continuum. If federal government agrees, it therefore means they can meet it. But at this point, of course, we are in recession. They're saying we are almost out of recession. Glory be to God. ASU also should consider the times we are to know that there's a need for a renegotiation. The federal government have come up to say, yes, we were not sincere enough in our agreement. I think that should spur them to call ASU to the table for further negotiation. And by the time they go on further negotiation, there should be an agreement that will bring our primary interest is for the classrooms to open, for our students to go back to the classrooms. Because if our students don't go back to the classroom, you see the strikes from 99 till date. You see the strikes, it has become a yearly occurrence.
Well, NANS just gave the federal government and ASU roughly 2 weeks to resolve that. But if this problem is not resolved within 2 weeks, then what?
Will cause crisis in the country.
What kind of crisis? And how does that help? How does that help?
Will cause civil unrest in the country. The major problem is, I don't think most of them, the ASU, the federal government, their children is not in our contemporary universities. I think that's why we'll continue having this incessant strike.
Unfortunately, you know, this is most likely not going to help the situation. It is more likely to worsen the situation. But I would also like to hear, you know, from more students who have experienced that. The gentleman at the middle at the back there. How has this strike affected you as an individual?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Michael Kalu, a student of economics of the prestigious University of Abuja. First and foremost, I will also buy the ideas of my comrade here, who has pointed it out that for a government, a responsive government, going into negotiation with any trade union be it whatsoever, and they reached an agreement. They reached equilibrium, and both parties agreed. I believe the government should also honor their own part of the bargain.
So how has it affected you? How have you been affected? That's what I would like to hear.
I have been affected because the strike commenced. We were about to start our exam. I'm a 400-level student. I'm supposed to be a graduate by now. But because of this strike, I'm sitting at home doing nothing. And a minister of this Federal Republic of Nigeria once said that Nigeria graduates are unemployable. The same minister will never or will not even dream of sending his or her son or children to our contemporary universities. How do you want the university to grow? We
will have to get more responses here from the audience, so I will come to the front here, to the gentleman second
thanks,
left.
Stanley. My name is Yodu Adeni, and I work for Bayes University. What's happening in the public sector actually is unfortunate, but it's probably another opportunity for us to take another look at the configuration of our educational system. Perhaps we should emphasize more on deregulation. There was a reason why there was deregulation in the first instance, sometimes in 1999. And there's a reason now why we should think of strengthening the private sector, perhaps to take more serious interest in in education, the way it is, the way we have it in the country today. We need to start asking ourselves the question, why are some of the best universities in the world private universities? And what is the problem with us? Why do we continue to somewhat misrepresent the question of the development of private institutions in this country? If we believe so much in the ability of the private sector to drive the economy and to propel different sectors of the society, then why do we have to think less of the ability to do same in the educational sector? Like I said, I work with...
We'll probably get some response from that.
Yeah, let me conclude,
also, no, just hold on a minute. I would also like to hear from a female student, because they have peculiar issues in addition to the general problems that we have. So I believe that we have one